So I want to delve a little bit under the covers of our LMI, or our log management platform, and really understand why an appliance is the right approach to this. So if I just delve through this, you basically have log sources, and a source could be an application, or a firewall, or a database, or it could be a server. In fact, we'll do something, maybe something like a smart meter. So each of these are devices, sources. Sources then basically come into what we would see as an in-memory queue, which is really where we control it, which is a staging in-memory process. And there's lots of smarts then go on, which is you kind of have a brain which sits there, brain. And a brain will do things like pre-parsing, parsing, normalization, but in essence what it's really doing is trying to understand from an automatic identifications perspective, what are these logs? They are separate. How do I then store them? And then in a way of my database, put them in a column style that allows me to understand and search against the information that I need, whether it's from a compliance or a forensics perspective. So for instance, a log might have things like timestamps, date, IP address, user ID. But you get the picture. Each of these ones is basically something that you might want to do some forensics against. So what we do is we take each of the logs and we normalize them to the extent that you can do very, very fast searches against it. So it's a lot of work. And then at the back of that, we basically have reporting that allows you to do things like PCI compliance, QSAs, forensics, or even SIEM, security event management. So you set rules-based policies to see, what's happening with intrusion detection, for instance, or malware. Now, here's the interesting thing: is if you kind of think of it more in terms of a conveyor belt, this is almost like a conveyor belt, and this is food items coming down a conveyor belt. And as fast as a conveyor belt is, this guy here is basically packing them in the right place. So they go into this in-memory queue, and then the brain has to work out and orchestrate exactly where they need to go and how they sit into the database. So you can well imagine that if there's too much of this going on and this queue fills up, you get spillover and you lose log data. And the same as if the brain doesn't move fast enough, you've really got the same impact. And so you really need something which is a controlled environment that you can definitely set the pace of which you're getting the data in, and you're actually ingesting it and putting it onto your database, because it's very important. If you're dealing with something like a PCI or a HIPAA, where you need immutability of the logs, you need to make sure whatever they are, your IT assets are logging, you're actually receiving them. And so what we do is we basically create an appliance here, appliance, which says from this model we understand the underlying hardware architecture behind it, and we can actually scale specifically for the task. So the challenge with a software solution is we're dropping on a piece of hardware and we can't actually guarantee that. So on the back of this platform we really look at it and say we can provide an SLA, a service level agreement, that's going to enable you to sleep well at night. Thank you.